Hey, welcome to
Let's Go!
All right, I'm Olivia Roberts, Harrison Lilly, and we talk business stuff and life stuff. And
Talk about things and stuff and stuff and things.
and stuff. So today, Harrison, what are we talking about?
I don't know. I have no idea. No, I'm kidding. So something that has been interesting to me lately is finding people who are investing in their companies and companies they don't own, but I think trying to find their path of where's the opportunity of growth here for me. And I can tell you as a business owner, that's a really rare thing to find. You find that most people say, what can a company do for me? Rather than asking, what can I do for a company? And hoping and praying in good faith that upper management, ownership, whatever, sees that and goes, that person needs more opportunity. Mm-hmm. And that would be what we call an intrapreneur.
Yeah, entrepreneur.
So, intrapreneur.
I know. Entrepreneur and intrapreneur. We give those definitions.
Yeah, so entrepreneur is someone who goes out and starts a business. An intrapreneur is someone who goes, hey, I really see how I can improve this business, how I can help this business, how I can be a part of this business and make it grow so exponentially that they're going to want to keep me around and give me some ownership, some equity, some profit, some additional responsibility, a crazy pay scale, something to where you're so valuable that they'd rather do business with you than without you.
Yeah.
And it's very rare to find, entrepreneurs are, in my opinion, more rare than entrepreneurs. What do you think about that?
That's actually,
I would say especially since the pandemic.
yeah. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I've never thought about it as far as comparing the two because entrepreneurs.
Come. Either I'm deaf or it's not on. I did hear that.
Okay.
Might check 1, 2.
Yeah, that's
Talk.
super loud.
Yeah, it's loud in yours.
It's loud in mine.
I'm 1. Yeah, now.
So now say.
I can hear now. Oh, yeah.
Now I don't really hear him at all. I mean, I hear him, but not in my ears.
Oogity boogity.
Okay.
Might check 1, 2.
I think I hear it. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
Oh, I hear it great now.
Okay, so we're probably fine.
I could not. I mean, I was reading your lips, so it's just muffled sound is all it was.
So I haven't thought about the two being like comparing like the percentages, and yet, entrepreneurs, people that want to start businesses. And I do think, because I think, to have a good intrapreneur, you have to have a good entrepreneur, like somebody that you want to invest in, that they are, because like, interesting enough, like you're an entrepreneur. I'm more of an intrapreneur. And with that said, as an intrapreneur, and I have done this where you like see a business and you're like, oh, I can make that better and I can do that. And you like go in with that mindset, and that entrepreneur doesn't have the ability or the whatever to like grow it. So it's it has to be.
Doesn't have the ability, or the entrepreneur's world was so big that other person didn't need to grow, to leave that world in order to grow a world that they wanted. Because I would say that, let me give you an example of an entrepreneur in my world. Easiest one is Amanda. Is she talented enough to do it on her own?
Oh yeah.
And is she right?
Yeah.
She has money.
That's right.
She's all the talent
smart,
in the world.
talented.
People like her more than they like me. Why doesn't she leave?
Yeah. Well,
and my belief, and I pray this is the reason, right? Nobody hangs out with me just because I'm a bucket of fun 24/7.
What do you mean?
I know.
So fun.
So fun.
Except for when you're not returning my texts.
Which seems to be a theme on Facebook this week.
I didn't know that. I wasn't jabbing at that.
I know. I screenshotted a text message and posted it, and I had like 601 unreads, and nobody gave a about the post.
Yes.
All they cared about was your 601 unread messages. Like, look, if you do not demand a response from me.
Yes.
And then sometimes you just get buried. Like I had a 4-hour meeting yesterday. It took me 3 hours to return the calls and texts after the 4-hour meeting.
That's right.
And so sometimes you just get buried, and I don't mean to do it. I had to apologize to somebody yesterday.
Yeah.
Dawn Bailey, sorry. Love you. But my point is, she has the finances, she has the ability, she has the brand recognition. Why doesn't she leave? I would argue is that for everything that she's giving up by being inside my company, she's gaining 2x more and investing with me and doing other things with me.
Well, yes. And so this is the I like to think of, so you have the entrepreneur, they go and if we, they start a JCPenney's, they start a store. The entrepreneur, they want to, that might be the person that runs this division that wants to make that division as big as or as good as the entire organization, right?
Yeah.
And so, absolutely, because it's not, and she can do that with you because you're looking at how do I make sure that my world's big enough that she can continue to grow in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the biggest piece. And there's some times where, not all intrapreneurs are created equal and not all entrepreneurs are. Just because somebody's an entrepreneur, because I'll have sometimes an entrepreneur that I'm coaching, they really want an intrapreneur. And I'm like, but you're not somebody that is
like ready.
Yeah.
Like, because where's the growth? If you came to me, because I'm actually okay with being number 2. It doesn't bother me to not be number 1. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to be like number 10. Like I do want to be in leadership. I want to be in servant leadership. But your world would have to be really big to attract me. And you would have to be able to show me a growth plan. Like, hey, Harrison, you're making this much money and you're spending this much time. Like, you're going to have to show me something, time, money, stress.
Yeah. Like what is it that's important to you? Figure out what's important to you. And then how can I help you get there? Faster, quicker, et cetera, 100%.
Yeah, grow something bigger than you'd ever imagine by teaming up with me.
That's correct.
And that would be fine.
Yeah.
I'd be good with that as long as the results were what I needed. Now, if somebody would offer me $500,000 a year for 40 hours a week, no nights and weekends, I'm selling everything.
I don't know. You'd be trying to do something else in a heartbeat.
I'd probably take over your company.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So where do people, how did you recognize that Amanda was an intrapreneur? Like what would you suggest for other people? What are they looking for? Who do they need to become in order to attract that type of talent?
Yeah. So if we're just using Amanda as an example, when she came to the team, she was already about a 30-unit producer, which is successful. I mean,
anywhere you are,
any agent tells you they sell 30 houses a year, they are a successful real estate agent. They're paying their bills, they're making money, they're putting some money in the bank. Good for them. They're doing great. She comes to the team, she starts doing 80 plus units a year. Now, when someone sells 80 homes a year, you're in the top 0.0001% of all agents in the entire world. You are either extremely aggressive and hardworking, super lucky, or blessed by God. Like, those are your only options to get there, right? You're a master of your craft. All the stars have aligned. And at that point, when someone hits there, there's not, unless they're going to start building something else, like, would you agree? There's not much upward mobility from there unless they're going to start growing.
That's right. Because, you run out of you run out of time and resource, right? Like, there is, your quality of life or your customer service is going to be impacted at that point.
Yeah.
And so, you just, there's only so much time in a day and a thing. So absolutely.
Yeah. And so
whether you're growing with, agents, with utilizing showing partners, admin, starting your own. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so once somebody has been at the top of their game for 2 or 3 years, there's something inside of all of us that comes out. And because you'll start out your first 2 years somewhere being extremely thankful, like, oh my God, look how my life has changed. Look how great this is. But there's something God puts inside of us, or maybe it's, I don't know, Satan. I don't know who put it in there. But we as humans always want more. It's very rare that someone successful doesn't still want more. I remember when I was younger, I used to say, I want to be a millionaire by 40. I want to be a multimillionaire by 45. And then I want to retire early at like 50 or 55. I became a millionaire at 31. I became a multimillionaire at 33. That number has almost doubled since 33, and I'm 35. And then, so I'm at 35 and I'm at X, and now I'm actually looking. This is going to be fun for everybody. I'm going on a trip in December. I will take off like a week or two during December, January, because y'all don't need me here anyway. And so I think I'm going to go to Costa Rica and kind of scout out my early retirement. And I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I think my new goal is to be retired by 45.
And okay,
Because
it's a different conversation.
And thanks to you and 4-hour work week, that's where I'm at, because the guy said something so impactful to me that made me really think. It's like, I earn in U.S. dollars, I pay salaries in rupees, and my cost of living is in pesos. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and I was like, so if you make $30 an hour, it spends like $150 an hour. Mm-hmm. And if I had $5 million in the bank at age 45, on 4%, I'm making $200,000 a year residual, with never actually hurting the principal balance. That money will stay there or make money every single year. Mm-hmm. Do you know how you can live in Central America for $200K? Mm-hmm. Especially if you just go pay cash for a house anyway. Mm-hmm. And so you have no living expenses, just food.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And it's a different conversation than
everybody's on the timer. Everybody's on the timer.
You also want to be thinking about what would you do, because that's the other challenge. This is something, this, again, separate conversation, but I see a lot of times people are like, oh, okay, well, if you have a goal, as you get closer to that goal, if you don't have your next goal, what happens is you go, okay, I can already do it. And then it falls flat and you actually don't end up completing it. Right. Yeah. So going ahead and looking, what would life look like if I was quote unquote retired? What would I do? What would I, maybe I'm going to become a, world famous, whatever.
I'll figure out how to run an empire from another country.
Okay. And so that's...
that. I'm not actually going to retire. Y'all are crazy.
That's the whole piece. So, but okay. So,
yeah, I got off topic there. So anyway, but we all want more. And so that was just the story of me wanting more and all my goals changing. And so that typically happens. And so when you see someone achieving at a high level, but the same-ish for a few years, you have to start really looking and going, hey, we need to go have some really hard conversation with this person if we don't want them to exit.
Well, and you and I had that conversation, February of this year, because you were like, so-and-so and so-and-so, they're all set. And I said, I looked at their numbers and looked at where their business came from. And I said, there's going to be an exit, and not for any other reason, but they're there, right? Yeah. So 100%, if you have your people, because so often the people that are doing really well in our organization, we tend to go, hey, they're good, they're happy, and those are the people that you actually want to spend more time with, expand more energy into, because they are growing, where so often we tend to focus on the problem or the people that have just entered, and like
your new people, your bottom 20%.
Focus on your top people and let them grow into it.
Yeah. So great point there, because I used to have this philosophy, and I remember talking to your brother about this, Chuck, and I said, I want to be the team that will leave. And for me, that only meant their income. And I was like, okay, so who in their right mind, when most real estate agents are failing or are poor? Because if you don't know this, the average real estate agent in Northeast Louisiana is making sub $30,000 a year, with the top 5 to 10% are the only ones making good money. So basically, that's your top. I don't even think 10% is that, because that would be your top 80. In our area, because 50, the price 50 to 80 is not making very much money. They're making a living wage.
Yeah. If you're making, well, we can do the math on it, but let's say if you're doing 30 to 50 units a year, you are profiting at most around, and if you don't have an admin or anything, your quality of life isn't very good, but you're probably profiting around $100,000.
No, they'll probably be, so I just
75 to 100.
Yeah, it'll be 75 to 100.
So 75 to 100 profit, right?
That's based off of a 2.5% average commission, which is doable since the lawsuit. Government completely screwed the consumers. Good job, guys. I hope they're watching this. It's gonna be great. Average price point at $200,000, average commission at 2.5%, minus 30% for broker splits, and that's an average broker split in our area. Some are 40 to 50, some are 20%. It just depends on which company and which subscription you like. And then the average of 30%, so that's 100. Turns 150 gross into 105, and that's before any expenses.
That's right.
So if signs, lot boxes, marketing, I think it's very safe to assume that someone who sells 30 houses a year is probably spending around $20,000 a year on their
business, gas, all that stuff. So their dues, etc.
Yeah, so 85,000,
75 to 100,000.
I don't even think it's 100 unless they have a bare bones they take pictures with their iPhone
50 to 80.
and they put paper signs in the yard.
Well, we said 50 units to 80 units. So that's what I'm saying, 100 to or 75 to 100 grand profit. With that said, and now we didn't figure out taxes, right? So you take taxes out of that, it's much less because realtors typically are in a 30% tax bracket, right? So, so you're not talking about, and that's you're working. That's not like an easy living. That's working.
I just did something really fun.
Okay.
I just took those same numbers and plugged them in to someone on our team. Here's something really funny because our realtors don't have expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Our realtor would net $104,000.
Yeah.
I'm actually not more expensive.
No.
I'm too cheap.
You just made me completely lose my train of thought.
You're welcome.
Oh, so when we're talking about the number of agents on our board that are making 75 to 100,000 profit,
mid-sevens, yeah. Oh wait, how many?
You're only talking about
100 profit. Oh, top 15 or 20.
Yeah,
probably. Netting, not grossing.
Yeah. So that's the. So when you have somebody that is but go back to what you were saying. So you have somebody in your organization. You said you used to think.
Okay, all right. So I used to think, I was like, all right, we're going to set this up where our admin, our agents do not, they don't carry around signs. They don't carry around lot boxes. They don't run anything. We have a production team for that. They don't pay for photography. They don't pay for signs. They don't pay for anything other than their splits and their licensing dues every year, which is $1,000, right? We pay for everything for them. Part of this is the intent is to keep them in their 20%. Correct.
Because salespeople get paid to work with people, to be salespeople, not to do paperwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we also have transaction coordinators to do all their paperwork. So all our people are supposed to do is write contracts, go through inspections, hand off the paperwork, and be done. They show up to closing and get a paycheck.
And they're involved in the client conversation, right?
Yeah, they're involved with the client, but not with paper.
That's right.
And then but they don't, on listings, they don't pay for anything. They don't do anything other than go on the appointment, and they're done. They have zero expenses in it, and our leverage staff, which includes me, is giving them their time back so they can go get more clients and do more things. And I was like, if I can do all that and I can help people make six figures, they'll never leave me. And that worked for about 6 years. Mm-hmm. And then that complacency kicked in, and people were like, well, 100, 150, 200 is no longer enough. Well, I want what Harrison has.
It's not just complacency. Some people are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad thing. Some people are like, hey, I'm committed to you, you're committed to me, and for a season of our world.
Yeah.
And that's
great. Season, a reason, or life.
And so, so that's the thing, because some people are entrepreneurs and some people are intrapreneurs. So you have to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And then being aware of how, where else do they want to go? Can you help them get there? Because that's the other thing is you can't get so watered down that you're trying to help everybody get everything that they want, because it might not be your cup of tea. So you might have to help them discover, okay, this is, in 3, 4, 5 years or whatever time period, this is where you need to be. That's not now with that said, you might offer to have equity in their business. Maybe they start a different business and you know who they are and how and you become an investor in their business. So there are ways to stay in those lives of people that are, amazing and they want to do their own thing. And yet, but 100% within your business, you've got to are you facilitating the people that are doing good things? Are you bringing value to those people? Are you bringing the value that they want? And that's the other thing is, are we having conversations to find out versus, like you said, you thought it was just money. For some people, it's 100% money. For some people, for everybody, it's money, at least to this point, right? Like,
everybody's money motivated
of needs. Because
to an extent.
Well, everybody's money motivated at least to like, this is how much money I need to fund my life, right? Yeah. And then it becomes this way, that way, right?
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because that's something else that I've discovered in my entrepreneurial journey is that money does not mean as much to other people as it does to me, and money means something very different to me than it does to you. Your brother nailed me to a cross today. I mean, he just publicly said it. He's like, Harrison, you give a shit about money? I was like, He goes, yeah, you do. And I was like, I don't think the way you think. And he goes, no. He goes, you don't know the way I'm thinking. I was like, okay, well, what is it? And he went, it's a scoreboard. You're just trying to win. I was like, yeah, you nailed it. The money, I don't give a shit about it. If I'm being honest, it can come, it can go. I can go live in a different house. I'm good with it. But it's a scoreboard. Who's winning? I like to win. I don't know if you know that about me or not. So, no, everybody has a different perspective of money. There's people in the organization who I need to make $60,000 a year, and the quicker I can do it, the quicker I can go hunting this summer or this winter, whatever. I don't know when you guys hunt. Some people, it's vacations and travel. I got a young lady on the team. She is on a plane right now. I found out on Facebook last night, right? But if she makes X, she gets to travel, and that's her goal. Who am I to dictate what your goals are?
That's the whole piece. Is how can I help you get where you want to go quicker, faster?
That's right.
And support you in that. Yeah.
So, but you just have to learn what money means to everybody. I think that's a really important question as you hire and promote and interview is what does money mean to you? And what is that number where if you made it that you just your life would be perfect? Now that will change, right?
Right.
Because if I teach you how to make 100, Olivia, you're going to be like, well, I mean, I like my new car, but it's a Chevrolet.
Yeah.
And I like my house, but it's a 2-bed, 1-bath. And I'd really like a 3-2 brick on slab. And the new Audis look pretty sweet. Have you seen those Q8s? Yeah. Right? Like
and it could be
90% of people do that.
That's right. It could be that. It could be, now I need to, up money that in my savings or in my retirement, or I want to do XYZ for my kids. I want to pay for their college, whatever those things that are important to people, 100%, right? Mm-hmm. Those things change over time. And as you add people to your family and things to that effect. And so going back to recognizing, entrepreneurs, and there's a great book because I think sometimes you may not know, are you an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur? Mm-hmm. So there's a great book. You know what book I'm talking about?
I actually don't. It's not Rocket Fuel.
It is.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a chapter on that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there? Fact check. Does Rocket Fuel talk about intrapreneurs?
They call it the integrator.
The integrator is not an intrapreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so Rocket Fuel is all about who's the visionary, who's the integrator. And it's a great book if you're in a partnership.
Well, no, you don't have to be in a partnership for the integrator.
I'm saying, but it is if you're in a partnership.
If you're in a partnership, it's huge.
Yeah,
yes.
It taught me a lesson. And the lesson it taught me specifically was if me and another person are bringing the same set of skills, this business will likely not work. And it's the visionary. That's me. That is who I am to my core. I can't help it. I'm a big picture thinker. I don't really give a shit about the details as long as the end result is in place. And I'm a dreamer. I'm constantly dreaming. If you hang out with me long enough, you will hear 10 business ideas. How many business ideas have you heard from me?
I have been.
Connor? Yeah. And I'm just always thinking. Like, that is just how my brain, I don't even mean to do it. It's not intentional. It's just the way I'm wired. And then your integrator, that's your doer. That is the person that says, hey, like, here's where we need to start moving the chess pieces. Pawn forward. dude, Bishop, moving around.
And it's not even necessarily the doer. So the visionary goes, hey, we have this idea. And then the integrator goes, okay, so to make that idea, we need these people, we need these systems, we need this, whatever, right? And so then they ensure that the idea gets actually implemented or integrated into the business, right? Yeah. So they're both leaders. It just depends on what it is. And the integrator has a great vision for how do we make all of this better and push further. Mm-hmm. And the visionary a lot of times is, okay, now, like the next thing could be another business, could be within the business, that type of thing. But I agree with you. So if you haven't, if you're a business owner and you, I see this a lot, with real estate, but a lot of other businesses where they say, hey, I'm going to partner with this person.
A lot of people partner just because they think it's going to be a fun hangout bro time.
Yes.
And I think that is the worst, awful idea. I don't partner unless it is a massive amount of money that I need and I cannot get it from a bank. I don't partner with people for money. Mm-hmm. People with money call me all the time. Hey, Harrison, I'd like to do some flips, rentals, whatever. And then I look at the numbers. I'm like, your partnership doesn't make any sense to me because the bank is cheaper than you and the bank will give me every penny that I will ever want.
Well, on the flip side, so that 100%, so you have to look at partnerships as what are we both bringing to the party? Because you're right. Like, so you'll have people that are like, oh, well, we are similar. We're like, we want, and I'm like, hold on. Like that's friendship. I absolutely want to have people that are maybe in the same industry as me that we can run together and like, iron sharpens iron. The challenge though is if we incorporate that business together and if we're not saying you're going to do this and I'm going to do this, what we're doing now is we're splitting the same amount of profits. It's kind of like I'll see husband and wives that are in real estate and they're like, we do everything together. I'm like, so you both go on the listing appointments, you both go on the buyer. You literally are doing the same job. Mm-hmm. So you are not leveraging your time. You're not making extra money because it's just one person, right? Like, and so you have to be really cognizant of, okay, what's my role? What's your role? We can both be owners or have ownership or whatever, but this is my day-to-day. This is your day-to-day. Where does that fit? Because otherwise we're not multiplying, our output. Mm-hmm. And so you have to, 100%, just because you like each other or y'all are doing similar things, you have to look and go, okay, but who's bringing what to the party? What are you good at? What am I good at? Do those complement one another? Mm-hmm. But if they're the same thing, you gotta be, so like, let's say that let's talk about an investor. You're an investor, you found an amazing house, but maybe you don't have the money or you can't go to a lender to get the money. Mm-hmm. Now you would want to partner with Harrison because he has the money, right? Right. Now you found it. He has the money. That's a beautiful partnership. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If you're a brand new investor, that's in your first strategy would be, hey, let's go partner with somebody who will split profits with me. Mm-hmm. And because I don't have a great credit score, I don't have a track record with a relationship lender, which is what commercial banking is. Like, and you go, okay, well, now I've flipped 2 or 3 houses. Now I can go to this banker and go, well, I've actually already flipped 2 or 3 houses. Mm-hmm. I've got $60,000 sitting here. So I have a great down payment. I'll put it in the bank, put it in a CD. Like, what's the best way for me to work this so that we can loan against it, collateralize, whatever. Mm-hmm. So
there's lots of amazing times to be in partnership with people. Just get a coach. Have somebody that can help you guys structure the deal. Make sure that it is a fit and that the end result is what you guys are looking for. Because a lot of times we'll talk about the end result, but we don't talk about who needs to do what in order to get there. Mm-hmm. Because also sometimes in partnerships, you'll have people look at it and it can be a disparity in time. So somebody that's never been in a partnership might have originally come in and go, hey, we want to partner with you. You have the money or you have the credit or whatever. And then because maybe they're working in the business more, they can start going, what are you doing? No. It's not about time in the business, because that person that brought the money or brought the ideas or can look at your, QuickBooks for 5 minutes and help you do XYZ, they may not have the time in it. Like, they're not spending 40 hours in that business, but they are still very valuable. So you have to look at that as well. Mm-hmm. Because if you've never been in that, the person that's putting the 40 hours in, all the legwork, can look at that and go, well, that's not fair. No. You wouldn't have got the opportunity if not for this. And they're still doing this, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of moving parts. So be cognizant that it looks different. It looks a lot different for a lot of different reasons. But you absolutely, if you're looking at partnerships, you got to go, okay, what makes sense for us?
Right.
What are we shooting for here?
Yeah, I completely agree. I just went blank. I just blanked out entirely. That was weird. THT. Yeah, it happens.
Okay, so I'll say
so
this.
Awkward.
In Rocket Fuel, again, if you haven't read that book, if you're in business, you should be reading that book. It's a visionary is a leader who generates ideas and a big picture vision for a business, while an integrator is a leader who takes those ideas and makes them a reality. So that's one of the reasons that I separated when you said doer, because sometimes people will think of it as a doer, and they are a doer, don't be wrong. Mm-hmm. And yet sometimes people are like, oh, I want that's my admin or my assistant. Now, could it be your admin or assistant? Maybe.
Let's call them operators.
Well, operator.
I feel like that's it.
But it may not. But yeah. that the operator. Now, sometimes the operator can be the integrator, mm-hmm. but a lot of times that's not. Especially depending on how large your business is, that's not necessarily their job. Is operations. Mm-hmm. That is different than an integrator. Because
really?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because an operator is going to be in that business, mm-hmm. and they're going, okay, this is how we operate this to the max. Mm-hmm. They're transaction coordinator. They're going to own that role, but they're not in, and then you've got your, director of operations or whatever. They're in here. Your integrator is, like I said, they can be the integrator, but that's not always that's not always the case.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we, a lot of times the integrator is the person that, I almost think of it like the CEO and COO. Mm-hmm. That COO is probably not the one that's inputting the numbers for the books, correct. But they are like over all of it, if mm-hmm. that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm saying, like, yes, they are doing, but it's not the same as doing as like an assistant or an admin, and even sometimes the operations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be, but it's not always that person.
Yeah. So love that book, and you should read it, especially if you're in a partnership or a two-piece business, or you're wanting to grow your business and you need to hire. I would say that most entrepreneurs are probably visionaries.
Oh, yeah.
And now just a lot of people will go start a business, call themselves an entrepreneur, and that may not be their personality style, but if you'll go read this book, it will define it for you. There's checklists for every chapter that will help you identify who you are and maybe why things aren't working for you the way that you would hope.
That's right. Well, and sometimes think about it too. There are business owners that are not entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Meaning, like said, are they an entrepreneur? They've started something, but their goal was to, I want to start a shoe cleaning business like Vito's, which are they still available? Because they're awesome. I don't know if they're or not. They don't clean, but like they'll resole and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, but so let's say that I wanted to do that, and I'm an owner operator. Mm-hmm. It's my business. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're defined as an entrepreneur, but that's what they want to do, and they're not looking. They're wanting that business to be great, but they're not wanting to do extra businesses or anything like that.
Yeah.
So they just may be like a business operator, business owner, nothing. Yeah. And that's the thing is, I think sometimes people listen to this and they go, oh, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with any of these.
No.
It goes back to
we need all of it.
We need all of it and what suits you. And I think too, that's because you might find that you've been calling yourself an entrepreneur and yet you go, you know what, that's not real. What I really want is this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then let's figure that out. And how do you maximize yourself in that role?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely agree. So when you find people in your business who are doing really well, just like you and I talked, and this is my opinion, I could be wrong, but if you preach to your top 20, top 50%, it should elevate everything. Mm-hmm. And so when you're teaching high level messages, how much quicker, like think about this. You've got a teenager who plays baseball and he's good, right? But instead of playing high school ball, his dad's a Major League Baseball player, and he gets to go practice with the Major League Baseball players. Mm-hmm. This dude gets to go see the skills and the habits and the traditions and the techniques of the best players on the planet. Who's going to be the better player? The one who goes and plays high school ball, or the one practicing with Major League Baseball players every single day?
Well, and that's also the reason why we send our kids to camps. Because you want, that's the reason why we go to seminars. That's why, right? Like, who are you with that is at a higher level that you can learn from and go to, right? And learn from what things to do and things not to do as well. Kind of circling back, I felt this was cool. Visionaries and integrators, both are essential. Visionaries offer integrators a creative insight to the business, while integrators provide the logical and structured approach that's also needed.
Yeah. So you'll see a lot of people that are visionaries, and if they never hire or partner with the right integrator. So visionaries don't think you're awesome because you suck without the right tools. And that is a treat to myself. That's
where, so like, let's say that you're an entrepreneur and you are finding that like you're successful in a lot of ways, but you're not where you want to be. It's sometimes the integrator that you're hiring is the coach. Sometimes it is that you're hiring an integrator, whether that's a coach for a moment, because that's what you can afford and works for a business, or you're bringing in that integrator. Mm-hmm. Sometimes integrators are partnerships, or they have a piece of partnership, but not always. And yet you're hiring that either way. You're hiring that into your world. So 100%. That's because a lot of times visionaries, you have these visions and you're like, hey, I know I want to get here, but for you to be able to tell somebody, and it's not that you're not smart enough or whatever to tell somebody how to do it. The difference is you start doing it, or you tell them, and then you're ready to go do something else.
Correct.
You need that person that you can say, this is where I want to go, and their mind automatically thinks in systems and people.
We need to line this person up and put this machine in front of the next machine and do this and do this. And I'm like, oh, that sounds great. Would you make a checklist of that and make that happen, please? Thank you. Well,
and that's right. And not only that, but with an integrator, what you're looking for is somebody that, and this is so important for a visionary, an entrepreneur has to have somebody in their world that will push back. Now, not from hey, you can't do that, or not from trying to put a ceiling on the entrepreneur.
Because that doesn't work for an entrepreneur.
That's right. But to go, okay, you want to do these 5 things. All right. So let me help. Like, let's put these 5 things down, and then let's put this on there. If we go and do this right now, it's going to take money from this, and this is not going to grow. Are you okay with that? Well, no. And you kind of go back through the different things, and then you go, hey, great. So you want to start finding the people you want to start. So that is where you're going to go. But so that's the biggest piece, is you've got to have that person in your world that you can help them talk those things through, so that there's a time and place. You also, an entrepreneur, a lot of times they also need that, an intrapreneur also needs that entrepreneur that's going, let's go, come on. Yeah. Like, what's next? What's next?
My ideas are coming out faster than your production. Let's roll.
And they're always going to. The difference is if you have, you want that's why it's a good match. The good match. So the entrepreneur's like, hey, we want to do next. And the entrepreneur's going, yes, I'm excited about that. You want to do it in right now, we need 6 months because of this. And they look at it and go, okay, well, instead of 6 months, let's do it in 3 months. Or instead of 5 years, we're going to do it in 2.5 years, right? Because depending on how big the project is. So that's why it's such an important piece to have both.
Yeah. So we're coaching to our top, and we're making sure that advanced skills and techniques are being taught, because we want to elevate our rate of play. And the next thing is that... And
was one other thing. So giving them the ability to lead. So, for instance, they step up. So, like, I taught a class when we did some role play pieces in the class. Chris stepped up. Like, this is where the cool part of what you see in people.
I was going to talk about Chris today.
Okay. Yeah. So, nobody said, hey, Chris, can you teach this? Or Chris, and I haven't actually talked to him about this, but like it hit him in a certain way or whatnot. And so he reached out to everybody and he said, hey, Fridays, like, does this work for everybody? So now they're getting together at Fridays at a certain time and they're practicing their skills.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, because I'm so excited when I heard this, the first thing that I wanted to do is go, oh, here, and you can do it like this. And I went, whoa, that's his baby.
That's honestly why I'm not even going.
That's right.
And I hope
like,
he's not offended because I haven't had the conversation.
yeah, I
with
need
him.
to have a conversation. Like, if you want me to, I will help. I will whatever. But I don't. But it would be rude of me. Like, you're doing it. Why would like?
Yeah.
So,
it's like I don't want him to feel like I'm showing up and taking his idea from
correct.
him.
Like,
and
no,
I couldn't be more proud of him. He's actually why I thought of this today, talking about entrepreneurs and people, because you know, and not going to get it all into Chris's business, but I will talk about our relationship. And Chris is kind of probably more out of our top producers. Chris is kind of our lone wolf. Like, he doesn't show up to as many meetings as the other people. Like, he's not on all the accountability calls, and I give him hell for it. But at the end of the day, when somebody sells 70 houses a year, you just leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you have to meet them where they are, right?
Yeah, no,
And
he's just
when
not about the rah-rah stuff.
Right, but when he does show up, everybody appreciates it. He shows up at a high level. He does it. Yeah, like, there's so absolutely. So
when that happened, I was like, man, I'm really proud of him, because he and I had been having conversations about like what's next. And I was like, Chris, I love you, man, but like, what's next for me is people who show up for the organization. And it's not that he doesn't show up, because he shows up to every lunch and learn. He shows up to every sales meeting, but the accountability calls, gone, right? Anytime I ask him to be somewhere, if I ask him to be somewhere, he shows up without question. He may give me some lip if he doesn't like it, but whatever. And I think he's trying to find his place other than just doing investing with me and investing with another one of his investors that he works with.
I find his place, but also like it's funny when I talk with him, because I don't know that he sees himself the way that we do.
Oh,
I see him as a leader.
He sees himself down here, and I see this man way up here.
Like when he, it's funny. Like when he talks, everybody listens. Mm-hmm. Whenever he
doesn't see that.
Yeah.
He's always like, well, nobody wants to hear what I have to say.
Yeah,
Sorry,
they
Chris.
do.
I'm
yeah.
not supposed to maybe snitch on you all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Chris, I don't think you understand. Like, when you open your mouth, everyone else closes theirs.
Yeah.
That means that what you have to say to them is impactful. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm shut up when you talk, because I want to hear your input. You always say something good.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. So like, even if we go backwards, when we were, we had several classes around the new way that with the lawsuit that we had to do consultations and things. And he cracked me up because whenever like he resisted a bit, I think just change. Mm-hmm. And then once like...
Oh, he said, they won't sign that. This is stupid.
But once he like, and so it, like when one of the classes I remember, and it was one of the crazy part, it was one of the classes that I was at my worst at, and yet he was at his best. Like he was asking the right questions, he was doing the things, and it clicked for him. And the next day he messaged me and he had got one signed, or maybe even that same if there's
like two.
Yeah. And so it was,
and he got the commission he wanted for it.
And they happy, like the whole thing. So that's the other cool part is once he accepts and he like it happens, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, like but that's the other part is, who's showing up even when they don't have to in your organization. So that's
what I look for.
Yeah,
like, hey, who do I want to elevate and promote? Who do I want to make sure that they're hitting their net worth goal?
Yeah.
The people who show up. There are a few people in the organization that I have to ask them, like, hey, I don't pay you. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. You're a 1099 contractor who gets a commission split, and you're over here doing manual labor for the company. I didn't ask you to do this. Yeah. And they're like, no, this company's giving back to me. I want to give back to it. And I'm like, holy shit, they get it. Like, those are the people that I want to see elevated.
Well, and that's also where, because this is from somebody that when you work for a company, that's something that you're also looking for. Mm-hmm. When you're going all out, you're doing your job, you're doing an amazing at your job, and you are helping in other ways. Is the company seeing that? Are they talking about that? Because and doing something about it, not just a pat on the head, but like, are they show it? Like, it's got to be that win-win. Mm-hmm. And so that's the that's like a big key, but 100%, like I can look at, you know, in your organization, and I can look at somebody and I can go, you know what, they did that on their own time.
Yeah.
Or they did that because they care about the people. I actually saw a thing the other day that was pretty interesting. Happy employees are 15% more productive. So a lot of times you think about, as employers, we spend all this time, energy, and effort on so many things that does not have near the impact as having happy employees. And so that is, and now that's not just a pizza party. That's not, but I
think it's serving your people.
Are you serving your people?
Yeah.
Whenever, so one of the things, we talked about this a little bit last week, but somebody's sick, somebody's got something going on with their family, being able to say, I appreciate that you will do those things, but go home. Your health is important to me, and really meaning it.
Yeah.
Or I'll run and do this appointment for you because you need to do X, right? That's a win. Everybody is playing all in, and the expectation is that person plays all in as well, right?
Yeah. So when you're in a company and you are stagnant, you feel, instead of pointing a finger at everyone else, I would challenge you to do this one thing for a few months. Be consistent. Don't show up one time and expect all the accolades, right? Be consistent. Show up. Go play all in with your company. Go show up to everything you're supposed to show up to for. Show up early. Stay late. Ask if there's anything you can do to help. Come up with a way for the company to become better, for it to become more efficient, become more profitable, to leverage and get more out of their time. Well, and then they're going to start seeing you, because there's a lot of doers in organizations. There's a lot of people that I can give a pre-qualified $300,000 real estate lead to, and then go open a door and write a 11-page PDF, fill in the blank contract with 11 initials and one signature.
Yeah. It's
not hard. And then they make an egregious amount of money. That person's not hard to find. The people that are hard to find are your teammates.
Yeah.
The people who are going to invest in your organization, that you can reinvest in them and make sure that everyone's winning together. That's what being a true intrapreneur is about.
And so you said something right there that, that hit me. So it's always interesting to me when somebody complains about the culture of their company. And
I complained about mine this week.
So this is the interesting thing. I think a lot of times it's easy for us to look outward and say our company, like it's doesn't have good culture. Instead, looking at ourselves and go, what culture am I providing? Now, this is the ownership also, and also the people that work there. If I'm going into work with and I'm gossiping, and I can't then say the culture of the company. You have to start with yourself. And like you said, do the things, show up, bring culture. And then if then that may be a place that you need to exit. If you're an owner, I think a lot of times we look at culture in the company, we have to look at ourselves. How are we showing up? What are we saying? Sometimes I think we get too, we should be, we can get too lax with people that work for us and say things that we shouldn't say.
I'm not allowed to cuss anymore in the office.
Really?
I got in trouble. Yep.
I think it just goes back to if it's your culture or not. Are you okay with it or not?
Well,
are you okay with it when other people do it?
Well, so the issue is that, so if I drop 3 F-bombs in a 2-hour class, there's always someone, now that the company has grown, someone always one-ups me. So somebody goes and drops 10 F-bombs because I gave them permission by dropping 3.
Or you said the F-bomb in the meeting, and so then they said the F-bomb out with a client.
Yeah.
Right, because you have to use emotional intelligence here, right? So that 100%, how are you showing up?
So we're having to now control that and go, no more gossip in the office. If we hear it, you're going to have to go for the day.
Yeah.
No more cussing in the office. No more, I'm not going to call them dirty jokes. We don't sit around in the office talking about sex, but no more suggestive anything. We have to protect the environment.
The environment.
Can we not say culture? I really hate that word.
Environment,
vibes, anything other than
those,
that hypocritical word that company likes to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because when I think it's very much, sometimes people can use a word and we have a negative connotation to it because
Did you just
somebody's
feel like,
not,
for me? Like,
somebody's not showing up that way, and they're, because this is the other thing. It's just like that where people will try to use that to like, as a, like, beat you up. And I'm like, no. Like, don't. So yeah, I do. It's the environment. It's how are you showing up?
This is a complete rabbit hole here. Name some words you hate in business or real estate. Not names, so words. Words, not names.
Yeah. So,
no names.
So I always hated this one. Sellers. What is it? Sellers motivated. What is that? And then,
oh my gosh, Alivia.
Get like a super low offer, and then they complain. I'm like, what does that mean to you? Yeah.
So a very tenured real estate agent sent Chris Rocks a message.
I've been in the business for 50 years.
Wow, that sack of shit. Anyway, I hate it when people tell me how long they've been in the business. I'm like,
like, that's not what we're talking about, dude.
Yeah, you've been in the business for 50 years. I've been in the business for 9. I sold more houses in 2 years than you sold in 50, which means I have more experience than you. You should listen to me. Anyway, no, the motivated seller thing. Okay, guys, if you put motivated seller,
and they're willing to do $1,000, and if you're doing sorry, you tell yours, that will get me on the soapbox. Go ahead.
No, you're put motivated seller on a house that is priced $20,000 over what it should be.
They're not motivated.
You're not motivated. Display the right price on your house. We're going to do a session about pricing houses and the methodology therein in real estate, and also a small segment versus the automotive industry, because it is two really far things. Anyway, or different things. But so motivated seller. So Chris Ross.
You're only using those words because you don't have the house at the price that it needs to be.
You don't have to offer concessions. You don't have to offer bonuses. You don't have to offer allowances. You don't have to offer anything if you will put the right price on the house.
Right. 80% of getting that property sold, 80% of your marketing is pricing it right.
Quite literally. I could wear a glow-in-the-dark, blow-up elephant suit and spin a sign out in front of your house for a year, and your $20,000, $30,000 overpriced home will not sell for asking price. It's not going to happen. And guess what? The real buyers of your house, the people who can actually afford what the real price of your house should be, aren't looking at your house, because COVID taught us one thing. Don't go to people's houses if you don't expect to pay the price. COVID taught us that. It reprogrammed our thinking here in Northeast Louisiana. We used to go see a house and offer $20,000 less. You don't see that as much anymore. People are like, I don't like rejection. I'm not going to go there and get told no.
I don't want to offend the seller. We hear that a lot. And
I just tell them, like, fuck the seller. It'll be fine.
But
do you know them personally? Who cares?
Yeah. Well, they can't do anything without an offer. So they want an offer. So with all that said, that's one.
The Chris Rock story.
Yeah.
Chris Rock sends me a screenshot of this very tenured agent.
We need to have Chris Rock on.
I think he'd be great.
Yeah. Chris, next week. Let's get him in.
Yeah, I'm down. He'll talk about ULM the whole time.
Yeah.
He loves that place. All right. So tenured agent sends Chris a text. Like, hey, man, I noticed that you showed this house. House has been on the market for like a year, mind you. And he goes, sellers are very motivated. What do we have to do to put this deal together? And Chris said, okay, I'll let the buyers know. Well, the buyers assume motivated meant they'll pay closing costs. They'll take care of Chris's.
Just doesn't mean like I really want to sell.
Yeah.
No, motivated means I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it going.
Yeah.
Which is price, conditions, things that
terms, concessions. Yeah. So Chris sends in an offer that I felt like was fair. He ran it by me to see if I thought it was offensive. I said, actually, I feel like that's probably market value. They're just overpriced. And so he gets the buyers to send in a pretty decent offer, but it had his commission on there. It had closing costs on there, and then it had, a little bit less than what they wanted. It was only like $5,000 less, but with all the fees and everything. And so we get an offer, counter offer back, full price, reduced commission, no closing costs. I'm like, so you're not motivated. You wanted a full price, no concession offer and wanted to pay me beans.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a great day. That house is still on the market.
Yeah. It's just
Quit saying that.
Quit saying it.
Yeah. All right. You ready? Ready for mine?
Okay.
I got to say it sexy.
Okay.
Opportunity. Do you want some opportunity?
I used to get so pissed at that. Like the whole carrot and stick. Like, if you we used to talk about this a lot in my family. Like, we'd have people that you'd work for. They'd be like, well, if you do such and such, when I retire, I'll sell this to you. I'm like, bitch, you 40. Like, you ain't retired. And I work.
You may outlive me at this point. I don't know.
Well, and at the time, like, let's say I was 23, 24, 25, and I'm going, legit, you don't pay me enough ever to be able to afford to buy this from you, and there's no opportunity. So, like, you're, like, even with good intentions, so this is the thing. So if you're out there and you're telling your people that, quit it. Even with good intentions, if you don't have an actual plan in place that they can earn an opportunity to do that, quit telling people that shit.
Yeah, your opportunity should come, and maybe I need to do this now that I'm having this conversation, but I don't throw around the word opportunity. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to help you grow your business, period. Track record showing it. You join me, your business will grow. Have a good day. And so, but an opportunity not a opportunity. I need to do this like a main stage. Welcome to the main stage. Opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you like my radio voice?
I do.
That's pretty solid.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like DJ Worm.
Yeah.
But like really having a growth plan for people is important. I mean, we were just talking about entrepreneurs. Like, entrepreneurs want to know, like, hey, if I invest and help you grow in your business, how does that help me and my family achieve our goals?
Yeah.
I tell you, as an entrepreneur, you're typically the person with the highest dollar per hour and the highest pay rate in the room, typically. And people aren't necessarily interested in you purchasing your next lake house or beach house or Porsche unless they also get to get a beach house or a Porsche.
Yeah, well, look, this is my thing, is I'm all about everybody making money. I have no problem if somebody, like, makes a ton of freaking money. But if you're somebody who don't brag to me about the fact that you just bought a plane, if the people in your employee have to have food stamps in order to actually, like,
yeah, I've
that bothers me.
I've had an issue with that model. There are some business owners. We've actually talked about this. The two types of business owners: the ones who care about their people and how they can help them achieve more and get more and have more and be more, and then the other who juices everybody for every cent that they possibly can. I know a lot of entrepreneurs like that, and it's probably the reason that I will never be truly wealthy. Like, I will probably have to work for the rest of my life, because I am giving with my finances. I do believe in people, and I do want them to have a good life. I do want them to make living wages and for their kids to be blessed.
Yeah.
Like I want my kids to be blessed. And it's really sad. Like, the people who are making, like, grown-ass adults making $10 an hour and
working their ass off for the company. That's the thing. I'm not talking about somebody that is, like, half-assing it or worked, 5 minutes a week or whatever. But like, cause I love the fact that, like, your transaction coordinator, who we talked about her before, she's one of my favorite people.
Yes. Wonderful.
And, she was able to buy a house. Mm-hmm. She, then sold it and bought another house. I think now she's wanting to do an investment house. And, and she's, I don't even know. She's
26, 27? 27.
Yeah, 27.
I think the number's 27.
And the reason, like, I'll say, like, her age, whenever I first met her, I thought she was 25 or 26, and she was like 20 or 21. Like, so now I'm always off on her age, but she's,
and if you talk to her about her life, she's killing it because she's beating generational curses.
That's right. Well, and this is the thing, like, so I had a conversation with her because, she'd reached out to me and said, hey, I've got this. And she was like, is this okay if I talk to you about it? Because as the coach, and it was a conversation or whatever. She is somebody that, I
want her in my life forever.
Yeah, Like, she wants to do more and to do better. And in that particular moment, what she was telling me about her with her, and this is so funny. This is a great opportunity. This is a great problem to have for somebody that you work with, is she wanted more things to do at work to prove that she is growing. And, and it was so, I love that. She's like, look, I can own this. Let me own this. And that's and there's people that say that and then hand you the job back. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm saying, like, the people that are like, no, I'll take it. You don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking for. And you want to reward those people so they stay in your life. Now, they may not, it's not like she may not be your transaction coordinator when she's 60, but is she good? But she will have a place.
Anybody who's
Because
valuable
she's
in service, I
amazing.
will
Yeah.
figure out where, like, we own 6-7 businesses, hopefully 50 here in the next
Well,
5
and maybe
years.
we start. One of the things I want to talk to you and her about is like I think we should start a transaction company that she
If you take
runs.
Jade from me, I kill you.
No. That's not what I'm saying. No. I say that like there's a whole thing behind it. But
I know what you mean, because the other
then
business
she
that you and I
gets
have been
to be-
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah.
and how her and Amy can
And
make
she
more
can-
money and do more
yeah.
things. Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a whole. So I just it's the
I just did like this whole dance. I think I was
jazz
almost like
fingers,
whipping Nene
Because-
over here.
Well, yeah. So like that's my thing is, and that's the other thing. Are you looking for? Build your bench. Always be on the lookout for people that you might want to have in business with you. I know there are people that I want to be in business with that they've been on my list for 10 years. I have no idea how it's going to look. I don't know. And that's the other thing, you got to be careful. Just because they're on your list doesn't mean you got to like cram something to make it work. It's got to make work.
My best relationships are ones that I went after for years. Amy was on my list for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
5 years before we ever had a real... No, we had a conversation at 3 years, and she ghosted me. She just quit responding to me altogether. And I was like...
It wasn't the right time.
She messaged me back like 6 months later. She's like, hey, I'm really sorry. Just had a lot going on. And like, I just don't know if that was the right time for me to take that kind of risk yet. And I was like, okay, hey, no worries. Love you. When the time is right, you'll know.
Yeah.
And I want to be your first phone call. Love you. Have a great day.
That's right.
You know?
Well, and she, she's one of those that, you and one other person that I won't mention, like when they were looking to hire somebody, like that's who I said, I don't even know if she's available. I don't know I don't know pay or anything like that. But I said, if I would want somebody in my organization, you should go after her if there's even a possibility. And so that's the, who are those people in your world that you think that about, that when somebody mentions something that you're talking about, hey, this is an opportunity for that person. You should, go after that person. I'm not ready for my organization for them, to be here or whatever. But also don't write somebody off, because if they're amazing, and that's like one of the things, like when you're looking to hire people, I think a lot of times people wait too long to hire because the best people, the people that you want, already have a job. They're happy where they are.
Have a pretty good job.
They have a pretty good job. They're happy where they are. So you want to do one of two things. You want to create such a big conversation that they see the advantage of coming to you. Or you want them to know that there is an opportunity for when their life, something happens and they are looking for the next opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am quite literally buying a business right now that the person that's actually going to run it doesn't retire for 5.5 years. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it'll be a good fit. I have an operator for it right now. And that they're going to go in there and optimize the business, because that's what they do. They're an integrator. And in 5.5 years, that other person, when they retire, is going to come, take over, and this other person is out. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows the plan. And everybody's like, that works.
That works.
And everybody's excited.
Yeah. And that's the other, like,
sometimes you have to wait on that person to be ready.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
So
and
if you're always recruiting and you're always hiring, you always build a bench. Like, I run ads every week. Am I actually looking for anybody right now? Not really.
Well, no,
but if the right candidate comes along, I will find a way. Like, even if I got to eat it for a year.
That's right. When I think about it, like, I've told the story before about whenever, of all people, Zach Stevens, he used to pick on me about this. He's an amazing guy, realtor. They do Airbnbs, like all this stuff. And I had the opportunity to hire him when he was like 19. Yeah. And I didn't recognize the talent. And with that said, that was still when I was hiring like shit. Okay. Like that was well before, like I took that on to go, okay, I'm going to master this. Yeah. Even at 19, I, shoulda, coulda, woulda, or whatever, but like, he probably wasn't the fit for that job right then. He really wasn't. And yet,
but if you'd known who you could have ran into,
if I would have kept the relationship growing, and that doesn't mean like I'm probably not going to go out and dinner with him, but like, hey, have you thought about this? These are some opportunities. Like, are you staying in a relationship with people so that you, when it's time. You know who to go find versus having to just start with LinkedIn or with Indeed. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with those things.
No, they're good mediums.
They're good mediums.
Yeah.
And yet it really is, who are you paying attention to? Who runs your dentist office, your doctor's office? When you go somewhere, you have amazing service. It might be that person that gave you the amazing service, but who's the manager or who's the person that's helping create that? Pay attention to those things, because that may be your next opportunity.
Yeah. No.
Or their next opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, for me, real estate stuff like loan officers that aren't quite making it, processors.
Well, not necessarily. They may not be making it, or I'm actually looking for people that are crushing it.
No. Well, so I'm always looking for right bus, wrong seat.
No, that's true as well.
That's something
100%.
that's something I personally look for.
Well, that's
like, so you,
Jade with me.
Jade name,
right?
title.
Wrong seat.
Yeah.
With me. And it was me. It was not her.
Yeah.
Like, because of what, but absolutely we need,
but Jade's like killing it.
Oh, yeah. She always has.
When Bella left, when Bella came into the office and was like, Harrison, I've decided that when I move to Shreveport, I'm not going to work remote. I'm not going to do what we talked about. I'm going to leave. Like, I was really butthurt about it. And I was like, man, I just don't know how we're going to replace her. Like, man, that sucks. And then, Amy brought Jade to the company, and I was like, man, I mean, Jade's good, but, nobody's Bella. 6 months later, I'm like, I love you, Bella, but, Jade's in the house, like, she was awesome. I told somebody that yesterday. I said, I never believed that we would have a better transaction coordinator than Bella. And then Jade came up and just showed out, and man, what a life changer. She's a goat.
Yeah.
She's a goat.
She really is.
Yeah.
And it's all of the things. So who are you looking for? What are you willing to do to invest in their world? And how are you showing up? Are you showing up that somebody would want to be in your world later? I think about that. There was, this was years ago, but probably 10, 15 years ago now. I was playing softball, and I'm very, very competitive, and it was slow pitch softball. So, I mean, you guys get it. It wasn't like I was getting paid to do this, but I'm very competitive. And I'm assuming I'd had a pretty shitty day that day. And, I've been an umpire. I do not yell at umpires. I actually have an issue. If somebody tells me, tells me to stay,
an umpire. I have fought an umpire.
Yeah. But if somebody tells me they lost a game because of the umpire, it pisses me off, because I'm like, it wouldn't have been that close.
There are some games that were thrown.
Responsibility.
Pass interference, Saints. What year was that?
I don't know.
That was an inside job. Okay. Vegas did it.
Okay. So, well, and look, you're talking about pros. I'm talking about, like, there's always parrots.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's always parrots that will say, well, that umpire doesn't like me. I'm like, that umpire doesn't know who the freak you are. Shut up. Like, or they prefer those. And I'm talking like 10-year-olds. And I'm like, shut up. Like, no. With that said, if they don't like you, do something different. But don't just complain and it's somebody else's fault. I don't like that. Like, let's not teach kids that. Let's teach kids to take responsibility.
Put that little hundo right there and just, wow.
Yeah. Anyways, I just don't like it. So, but anyway, so I showed my butt. Like, I yelled at the umpire. I was really, like, I don't think I cussed him, but I did everything but, like,
Did you kick dirt, throw hat?
No, I mean, I yelled. And I was ugly. I was mean. And walked back in the dugout. And of course, you're mad. And I had to go back to him like 2 days later. And the worst part is, it's not like I could make that apology public, because it's not it's not like I'm going to go up to him and get everybody's attention and be like, I'm sorry I yelled at you, which is what he really deserved. Like, I just don't know. I wouldn't know. But I went to him and I said, look, I got to clean that up. Like, I'm so sorry. It was out of line. I shouldn't have done it. And thanks for being the bigger person out punching me in my face, because I probably deserved it. And, because I think, like, that matters. That person, when I acted that way.
Yeah.
Who did I lose with that I may not even ever know, but I lost an opportunity because
you acted a fool.
I acted a fool.
Yeah, I think about that all the time.
Be aware of that.
People lose opportunities all the time because there are, I can tell you, I've been in drive-thrus where, this person was happy that I was there. And look, if you're happy that I'm there at a fast food restaurant, I'm actually... if you're smiling for 10, come work for me and let's see how big you smile for 20.
There's actually, lately, there's been 2 people like that we went through, a drive-through, and then whoever owns, the new slider pet lace.
That'd be Drew Brees.
No. It looks like
the tin can?
Tin can?
Drew Brees.
Does he?
Yeah,
Oh, God,
it's a franchise.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Anyway, so whoever runs or owns, the one in West Monroe.
I don't like that place.
Well, so this is what I love. It wasn't the food.
Oh, yeah, no, the food's not great.
Yeah, but what I loved was whenever I went there, was the first time they'd just been open for a little bit, and I took my nephews, and it's a cool looking building.
Yeah, the building's cool.
And I asked them, I was like, hey, can we even do this? Could we come in and look?
Oh, yeah, I remember the story. Yeah.
And the lady, and I'm guessing she was the manager, I don't know, or she maybe just been the lead person that day. She took us back. She was nice to us. The kids just were over the moon.
They got to tour a business, yeah.
And it was she needs to be in somebody's organization, because
that's above and beyond service.
Well, it's above and beyond, and it's not she did that. Because somebody else might have done that, and while they were doing that, forgot about the other customers that were coming through. So you can't have that either. No, it was a well-oiled machine, and so that was really cool. So that's what I'm talking about. So is there opportunity of somebody that you're oh wow, you might be under, you're just in a field maybe that.
That just doesn't pay
or doesn't give you the opportunity, but are we paying attention to those pieces?
Yeah. That's a big thing that I recognize when, mentoring Jake out of the lawn and landscape business, was, Jake is talented. I would argue you're not going to find very many people more talented than him. He's a hard ass worker. He's a good dude. He's not a thief. He's got some great qualities. And working his tail off for 100 hours a week, making not what people think he's making. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, your talents and your abilities do not scale in this business. They just don't. And I got him to start looking at some other businesses with me. And that's when we made the decision to open the roofing company. But as soon as we made a decision to put his talents at use in a business and a price point and a commission structure that scales, well, Jake's income almost tripled within a year. And so now it's was the sacrifice worth it? Because he was always, when he's learning, he didn't make very much money. I would say he's negative for the first 6 months that we opened the company. And then now, a year and a half later, he's like, yeah, it's a pretty good decision. We're doing okay these days.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole thing. And then if you're somebody like that, maybe look at where, what you're doing. Is that a place that you want to be? Is that a place where you can get financially where you want to be, time where you want to be? And it might be, I'm not saying go out and quit your job tomorrow. Don't do that. But it might be, what is your next opportunity? What are you taking the next 3-6 months, et cetera, to learn about, to do, so that you can then implement and that type of thing. So I think it's just there's talent all around us, and there's places that you can go to work and to learn and be willing to play all in and do next.
Yeah. If you're looking for, I'm bringing us back to the same point I said 30 minutes ago, but if you're looking for opportunity inside of the company that you're in, I want you to look inwardly before looking at the person who makes the decisions on your pay scale, your employment, whatever, and go, am I playing all in? If you haven't been playing all in consistently over a long period of time, you don't have the right to ask for anything. You're just going to be treated like the average, because guess what? You are average. That's
right. Play all in. That's I remember when I was in college, which I managed to turn a 2-year community college into a 4-year college with no degree, which is funny because I love to learn, but that's a whole other thing. But I was working at Walmart, and a lot of people, I worked at Walmart overnight, and I had another job during the day, and I went to school. And a lot of times people complain about Walmart, and there are lots of things about them that I have issue with. The one thing though, I got a pay raise. Now I would ask, but I worked there for I think 2 years, and every somewhere between 3 to 6 months I got a raise.
Yeah.
I loved working there, and yet and probably because I worked there overnight, but like until I worked the day shift, everything that I could say about Walmart was positive. And part of that though is you didn't matter where you put me, I was going to throw more pallets than anybody else, man or woman. Like it was, and even then, like I said, I was tired. Like I was literally, that was back, I mean, I was in my teenage, I was 19, 20, 21. So like I worked another job. I was going to school and I would work there overnight. And so I would sleep on my lunch break.
Yeah.
And I would sleep I would just lay down by the time clock so somebody could wake me up. And the whole point of it is they were like impressed, right? Now, so which is funny because I had to flip my mindset as I got older and in different type of jobs, because it's not just about the hours that you put in. There's a whole nother story where, you know, you have to go, okay, am I giving my all for this amount? And it's about the result, because that's the difference when you're working hourly or whatnot. But, you know, are you showing up really high and high level and doing the things that you committed to doing at a high level?
Yeah. And I always think, like, what would a negative person say to this conversation? Because we get torn apart on TikTok. Like, so we don't get a whole lot of traction on like Facebook and Insta. Every now and then we have one or two. But like on TikTok, every now and then we'll get torn apart, and I can just already hear the haters be like, go to work, put in your 8, and then go home. These employers don't care about you.
And some don't agree, some don't, and don't work for that employer anymore. Yeah. It's got to be a win-win. If you're at, like, that's why we're saying, like, go in, do your part at a high level. Yeah. And then...
And pay attention to who is paying attention.
That's right. And then you might be, while you're doing that, looking for the next opportunity.
Does this company value me in the amount of work I put in? I'll go work for somebody, and I'll give them my all. I'll give them the same slave labor that I give myself. And let me tell you, if I'm putting in that kind of work, I'm looking for advancement, and I'm looking for them to come and talk to me about my future. And I'm looking for it in the first 6 months to a year, because I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to outthink everybody. I'm going to put in the work. And if we're not going to have a conversation, then, well, I need to go find somebody who appreciates me.
That's right. Yeah, so that's where it has to be a win-win. Yeah. So, because I can also have these conversations from, you know, like, so again, an employer has certain responsibilities, and because there's some employers, 100%.
For sure, yeah.
And if you're working for employer and you're doing high level and you're not getting that next, then move. You're not at that's a,
you're not in the right place.
Yeah, you're not in the right place.
You're on the wrong bus.
Yeah, and so find the right bus, and it might take some time, but find the right bus.
And just so everybody knows what we're talking about when we say bus, like a bus is just it's
the right organization, the right place, the right
But not only can you be on the right bus, but you could be in the wrong seat. I'll give you guys an example. Our director, the lady who absolutely takes care of me, her name's Amy. I hired her to come in and take my role as listing agent. Well, we got into like 3 or 4 months in training, and she was like, I think you hired me for the wrong role. And I was like, I think I did too. Like, she has a daughter that gets out of school every day at 3:30. She wants to be the one that picks her up. That's just part of their thing. And that's a non-negotiable for her in her life. And that's okay. It's her life. And, you know, there's other things in her life. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. You're out of town too much. You have too many life things going on for you to be a listing agent, because listing agents have to give time. And so we, you know, looked into the organization and found that we needed to let some people go, and we let those people go, and then we put her there. And then what happened? Boom, life got better. I got some of my time back. My 90, 100 plus hour weeks turned into 60 to 80 hour weeks. And now that we've hired even additional leverage, I'm for THLT 40 to 60 hours, and then I go work the rest of those hours on the rest of my businesses. Yeah. But Amy was on the right bus with us. I thoroughly believe that, and I believe that today.
But wrong seat.
I put her in the wrong seat, and sometimes you're going to do that, and sometimes you may go, maybe this is the right seat for me. Mm-hmm. Maybe I really like working with these people. I really enjoy this. I feel like they appreciate me, but I'm not sure this is where my skills are going to take me to that next level. Hey, bus driver. I like to move.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'd like to move. Or, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this, but I'm going to, because they may not have that spot yet, but I'm doing this, and I'm also sending, like, let's say you notice that the company needs something in marketing, and that's what you want to do. Go ahead and
you start
share
learning those skills. Yeah.
Learn those skills, share those things, and now you have a skill you can take with you. Because if they don't value, if there's not an opportunity, and then sometimes it's going to the person that you work for and said, hey, look, this is what I want to do. Because if you were working for me and you were like, hey, Olivia, I really want to do this. And I go, oh my God, you would be amazing at that. You've been doing it here, but I can't pay you for that. Or that's not where we are yet. I have absolutely found jobs for people that I loved that weren't the right fit or the right for my organization. And I've said, you know what? I know who you might be a good fit for. Let's go talk. Let's go find that.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of, so yes, it has to be a win-win. Like, are you working for an organization or a boss or somebody that cares about you? Play all in. If you're not, look at yourself, make sure that it's not a you issue. And then maybe you need to find a different bus, which by that we mean a different organization, a different person, a different whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't stress this enough. You can't work for one day and then expect them to give you the raise, the opportunity, the thing that you're looking for.
Especially if you haven't been showing up well. Right. So you can't, because it takes time for people to see you differently. And so you're going to have to put in.
Well, not just that, like I see when people turn over a new leaf and they're, committing to different behaviors. But what I'm really looking for is
the wind going to blow that leaf right back over?
That's right. Are you willing to be consistent? There's, again, somebody in the organization. We have a conversation every 6 months. They get better for 2 weeks, slip right back into it. I'm like, that's fine, but it's hard to ask me for any more whenever you can't show up consistently for me or the organization or even yourself.
Yeah.
I can't invest in you and you won't even invest in you.
Yeah. So it matters.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we have talked some really good pieces today. I hope that those of you guys that are listening have liked some of this, have been able to take some of this to heart. We'd love to hear from you. So remember, put those, if you're watching this on YouTube, put those, we'd love to hear from you. Put something in the comments.
Or you can just talk trash to us. That's fine too.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I got this pockets full of salt. I remember you.
All right. With that said, is there any words that you want to wrap us up with today?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. This is not going to be the tagline, but I loved this. There's a guy that says on the end of every one of his things, he says, so now you got to remember you got 2 things to do. Go out and be better today than you were yesterday. And number 2, remember what we said. And I was like, I'm not going to use that, but I really like those 2. So
I like it.
I like it.
Ben Kenny says, be good to people and wash your hands.
That's
they started it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so it was like, this is Chad Himes, and from all of us here, and when may give, be good and wash your hands. I'm like, all right, Chad.
Yes.
You're still saying that? So I hadn't listened to it in like a year and a half. And I was like, I'm going to go pick that back up. It just got a little mundane for me.
Yeah.
And so I picked it back up because I really do enjoy those guys. And I was like, still the same damn tagline.
Yeah. The
pandemic's over. Take your masks off.
Yes. But yet it's still true. Be good to each other and wash your hands. Everybody should wash their hands. There's a whole thing on TikTok, by the way, about white people not washing their hands when they go to the restroom. Oh, no. Like, it's a whole thing. And I'm like, no, we do. I just want people to know that I do, at least. Like, I wash my hands all the time. And please wash your hands if you're not.
My hands were so I cooked yesterday.
Yeah.
And
mine would be chapped because I wash them so much and don't put enough.
I was touching chicken, eggs, and then
I do the egg. I wash my hands.
Oh yeah, because I was doing
wash your hands.
Yeah, like I was doing an egg wash and all that, and so
I walk into the kitchen because I've petted my dogs. I wash my hands.
Yeah, and so I probably washed my hands 20 times in cooking for an hour yesterday.
Yeah.
And like my hands were like bone dry.
Yeah. Like I get some lotion, put some lotion on. Yes, so hands. Wash your hands. So it's good advice. It's a good tagline.
Yeah, from Harrison Lilly, brush your teeth and smile.
That's right. That's right. All right. On that note, let's go.
That was awful. Bye.